In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to make a portfolio for the work that we've done in Intro to Media Technology. The portfolio will be a phone format website, and we'll make it in Adobe Muse. So I'm in Muse now, and I'm going to create a new site. The site will be a phone format, and I'm just going to go with the defaults that Muse offers me for this site. You'll see that Muse offers us a master page and one home page. We can create other pages. For example, I could create a page called Vectors and a page called Video Effects, these being the two studies that we previously did in this course. The master page controls these three pages. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up the master page. Basically, I want to set up some header, some footer details, and also the navigation system that goes between the pages. So let's say we might start off with a fill color for the browser. I'm going for a sort of a low saturated yellow here. I'm also going to put a texture in. So I'm going to place a very nice, let's see, I've got a nice texture here called yellow background. I'm going to place that in there. It's quite large, and I don't want it all, so I'm going to crop it. Note I can resize the image as you normally do with the black arrow tool, or I can crop the image, and cropping it will actually, just like it says, crop it. So I'm cropping that image to take that part of it. I'm also going to duplicate that and use it for the footer. And by the way, if we click on there, then the Muse knows it's part of the footer. It's not just somewhere down the page. It's actually part of the footer. Okay, I'm going to move on now and put some text into my header. Drawing a text field here. Now, I don't want to use any of the installed fonts. I'd rather grab a web font for this. So I'm going into Add Web Fonts, and I have my filter here for the different classes of fonts. I'm going into decorative fonts and looking for something very decorative, and I've decided that I like, let's see, I really like Stump Open. So I'm going to use Stump Open. So I'm adding that. And now I can now use Stump Open. Maybe bump up the size of it a bit. Ken's High Tech, and on the second line, Portfolio. Now, typically, with really decorative fonts, you tend to mix them up with a fairly simple font as well. So I'm going to mix Stumpf and Ubuntu condensed together. By the way, I'm going to go in and stretch Portfolio out a bit. I'm going into the window text, and I'm going to introduce some spacing there. Now, to me, that kind of works okay because I've got the very decorative font here and the very plain font there, and I've just stretched them out to. So I'm going to put a logo that I've got here. This is my logo, and that can also go up into the header. Shrink it down to a size that I think works. And that's my logo. That will appear on every page. All of this will appear on every page. There's one last thing, and that's to create a little icon that tells us that there's a menu hidden here. So I'm just going to create the 3 bars that tells us that this is menu. Holding down the Alt key here to get my double arrows and just dragging my little bars. Okay. Might even be nicely organized and just select all those 3 and put them into a group. Okay, so that's pretty much what I want to see in my header. Let's go to the footer now. In the footer, I'd like to put a copyright notice to say that it's copyright Ken Newman. Actually, copyright, we need the year of the copyright, 2015 Ken Newman. And I need to go and get that copyright symbol. So I'll just go and grab copyright symbol from the web. There it is. Copy. And we'll just pop that in there. Now, obviously, I'm not going to leave that in Arial. I'll make that Ubuntu and drop that down to a good size. Now, what else might I put in the footer? I'm going to go over to the widgets library here, and I think I might put a Facebook-like widget in here. If I drop a Facebook-like widget in here, then anyone looking at this page, if they're logged into Facebook, they have the option of liking it, and my page will appear in their timeline. So that's about all I need for my master page, for the look of my master page. The next thing to do is to get the navigation working. So for the navigation, I'm going again to my widgets library and looking at the menus. There's actually 2 menus. One is the horizontal. This works well for the desktop and even the tablet kind of sites. And the vertical, this really works best for the phone format. So I'm just going to drag the widget in place, and it actually makes the a button for each of the pages I've created so far, which is very nice. It's dynamic. If I go back to my website and create another page and call it something like tutorial, then back to my master page, it's gone and put this tutorial in here. So it's very nice. If we add pages or take them away, the menu automatically detects that. Now, the look of the menu is something I'm going to have to customize. I'm going to sort of stretch it out so it's almost a full page width, and this color's kind of wrong. This gray here. I'm going to use, let's pick up a sort of a color from my background here. It's not bad. Actually, maybe I'll just pick up that background color and darken it a bit. Yeah, I'm going with that. Okay, so that's fine. However, that's the normal state. There's also an active state. So I don't want that gray. I'm going to pick up the normal state and then maybe lighten it a little. Bit of contrast with the background color, but that's okay. I can live with that. By the way, there are two other states: a rollover, which we don't need, uh, and a mouse down, which we don't need. We don't have a rollover and a mouse down with phone devices. So I'll just go and change the font here, clicking in it enough times. I think we'll just go with the Ubuntu here. So what's nice is we change it in one, it changes all of them. I think I'll go a little larger. Yeah, and maybe also introduce some of that expansion. Yeah, that's working. The white, well, the white I'm okay with at the moment. Actually, I might just have a look at this. If we go to the active, then maybe we'll even reverse that text out and set it into black. Yeah, I think that works. So this is the active page and this is the normal page. So that's the menu setup. Now there's one more thing I would like to do, and that is to have the menu appear and disappear. So to do that, I'm going into the widgets library and I'm going to use the accordion panel. Let me just drag an accordion panel over here and show you what this looks like. So I'm just going to get my menu out of the way for the moment. And this accordion panel works like this. It has three panels here on three tabs. And as you click the tab, it opens the panel. One of the properties here is a property that says can close all. So if it's open and you click it, it actually closes all three. Now, I'm going to use this functionality of opening and closing to make the menu appear and disappear. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the second panel and the third panel and just use this one here. So I'm stretching it out a bit, and in this panel I'm getting the text box and I'm going to delete it. And instead I'm going to drag this menu into the open panel box there. You can see as I dragged it over, it highlighted blue to say that it was inside there. Now I can click this open and close, and you can see that that is going to allow me to open and close the menu. Just a few style things then to make it work. I'm going to make sure that the widget sits across here. I'm going to click in here until I can get rid of that text, and I'm going to make sure there's no fill in either the normal state or the active state. And again, I'm going to get rid of the rollover state and the mouse state. So now it's an invisible panel with nothing in it, but it will pick up the mouse click that will open and close the menu. I might just get into the menu here and click on the menu and sort of drag it up so that it fills the space, and close that one up so there's no space at the bottom of it, and drag it up onto the header and just stretch it over the header. So that should be working fine now, and that's how I set my page up, my master page up with header, footer, and menu navigation menu. So, and now I'm going to go back to my website, and instead of working on the master document, it's time to start putting some content on each of my pages. So I'm going into the home page now, and I want to have a text field here that says welcome to my technology portfolio, and I might do some more introduction text there. I'll go with my Ubuntu font there, of course, and would write that. I would think I would want some kind of graphic. So let's see. I've got this image called Mad Mickey here. So let me just drop that in and size that. And sort of size is okay to about there, but I might want to crop it a bit as well. So that's probably about what I want for my home page. The second one I want to go to is my vectors. Now, you've done a whole bunch of vector art, so I've got some vectors here in a folder that I called vectors, and here's some of the vectors that I developed as part of this course. There they are as vector images. By the way, I've taken the original Adobe Illustrator file into Photoshop and exported them all the same size, so they're at this size, which is actually a bit large. Now I could just size them down to the size I want and place them into my vector page like this, one underneath the other. And put some kind of explanation text in between each one, perhaps. And then the user would just scroll down the page to view each one. But there is another way of doing it, and that is to use some kind of a slideshow widget. So I'm going to just demonstrate that for a moment. Actually, we have a set of composition widgets and a set of slideshow widgets. The slideshows are nice because they will automatically play from one image to the next with a nice dissolve in between them. So I'm going to demonstrate that one. This is the basic slideshow, and I'm going to, as with all of these widgets, they have a little blue arrow here that lets you set the options for the widget. So one option is to add images. So I'm just going to add these 3 images, and now my widget has the images. Notice the widget is in a number of parts. If I wanted to, I could just use the image of the widget without any of the captions or the advanced arrows. I am going to use the arrows and the captions for this one, so I'm just going to size each of those and select the advanced stuff and drop it in here. Maybe close that up. And in here I'll put a little intro paragraph and say these images are part of a study in vector art. And of course, I'll go to Ubuntu again. And in here, I can set a caption for each image if I wish. And that's okay for that. By the way, at various times you should save it, and I think I haven't saved this yet, so I'm going to make sure I am saving it where all my samples are, where all my source files are. So this will be Kenfolio, and that'll be a Muse file. So the other thing that I need to do from time to time is to preview my work. So if I go to the preview tab up here, it takes a moment, but it will generate a preview. So this is my vector page, and I can check that the slideshow is working fine, and in fact these buttons are also working fine. I can check that my menu is working. There's the vector page highlighted, and I can go back to my home page and navigate through it as well. So everything seems to be working fine with the preview at this stage. I can go back to my site, either to the Kenfolio tab or just to the plan view. Will always get me back to my site. So I'm happy with my master page. The home page needs a little more work, but it's okay. The vectors needs a little more work, maybe some text in there explaining and putting it in context. Let's go on to the video effects page. Here I want to put the videos. So the videos that we did in our video study, we uploaded to YouTube, and wouldn't you know it, there's a YouTube widget in our widgets library under social. If I grab that YouTube widget, now for reasons that I don't really understand, my YouTube widget is giving me a blocked plugin message, but I'm actually not too worried about that. If I preview the page in a browser, it'll actually look fine. It might take a little while to load, but it will look fine. So it's wonderful. It plays as a full YouTube widget. While I'm here, I'm just going to go to my YouTube channel and grab, let's see, there's the animation demo that we produced in our video effects study, and I'm just going to grab from the share, I'm just going to grab that one there, and you know what, I'm going to put another YouTube widget in here and set this one up to be this other video. Now note, the widget will give us a message unless we get rid of that part of the URL. All the widget wants is the actual ID for the movie. Okay, so just be aware of that. And so, oh, what happened then? So I can add my YouTube videos there. Again, there's nothing too wrong with just letting the user scroll down to see them. But if you want to try something different, let's go for one of these other panels. We have the tabbed panel widget that looks something like this. So here we click on the tabs at the top and we get content in the panel below. So if I was to call this one my basic animation, this second tab could be my kinetic text, and the third one could be the explosion, which are the three parts of the video special effects course that we did. So just grab the whole widget. So I could then go in and get rid of parts of this that I don't want, and let's say I might want to put this one in here for kinetic text, and this one in here for my basic animation. Now the explosion at the moment still has the sample stuff, but that's okay. And this one maybe I can just shrink it down to about the size I want, and then just drop the whole thing into my video page. And of course I would have a little text introduction. Command plus. And change it to these videos are part of a study in video effects using After Effects. Okay, and of course I would want to go in and style the widget here. Making sure that it would fit with the look of my design. So I'm not going to style all of that there. I'll let you know how to do that, same as we did with the other panel and with the menu widget. So that's the video effects. The last one I'm going to look at is the tutorial page. Now, the task here is for you to take some part of what we've learned in this course and do a short tutorial on it, explaining it to somebody who doesn't know how to do this. Now, I've chosen for this part to do a quick step-by-step tutorial on how to set up the basic layers and the basic timing for our kinetic text exercise. So in my folio, I've already done some screen grabs that show that we go to the 11-second club, that we choose an audio clip and get the transcript from the monthly competitions, that we import that into our Adobe project, that we put that text into a composition layer, that we open up the layer to see the waveform, that we create a text layer for each word in the dialogue, and that we set the basic timing of each layer according to the audio track. So that's the 6 steps that I want to explain in my tutorial. So I could use there's so many different ways I could do it, but again, I'm going to use the accordion panel for this one, for this tutorial. So I'll grab an accordion panel and go step 1, choose an audio. An audio clip. In this case, I'm probably going to leave my text field there and drop the image for my first part in here below it. So why is that not opening and closing now? Because I haven't set can close all. Okay, so that's how I would go about doing that, and for each step 2, download the audio file, etc. As I need more steps, I would add more steps here, and eventually I get my I'll have my tutorial here. Again, I would introduce it. This tutorial explains the steps in setting up a kinetic text animation project in Adobe After Effects. Okay, so that's how I would do the tutorial, and the last part of this project is to write a reflection piece, and for that we don't need a video tutorial. We'll talk about that in class. So when you've got everything done, or actually even while you're doing it, you can go to Publish. We have the Business Catalyst, which is the name Adobe gives its testing server. All you need to do here is type in a URL, a name for your website. I'm going to call mine KenFolio. It's coming back with KenFolio01. So KenFolio 01.businesscatalyst.com. We'll go OK, and it'll take a few seconds for that to upload to the testing server. Yeah, so it's there almost. Once it's completed, you can then navigate to that site, to that URL, and test it on the phone. Just make sure that everything is working fine. So if I just have a quick look in a normal browser, let's set the browser to a sort of a phone-like size, and just test it all, that all of these widgets and everything works fine on your mobile device. And that's about it, guys. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and I look forward to seeing what you produce.